Zippity-doo. How are you?
Zippity-doo. Ooh, rhyming. All right, good. No complaints.
That didn't rhyme. Good.
I'm not much of a rapper. Sorry.
Damn it. My daughter freestyles under her breath sometimes. Just makes up little rhymes. And
What?
Laura dobbed me into her recently. She's like, Papa used to rap. There's a CD on the shelf somewhere if you can find it. I was like, no, 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 no. Don't go digging that up.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to find. I'm gonna talk to Laura on the side here. We're gonna need that.
No, you really don't. No one needs that in their life.
Mm, I don't
Little
know.
industrial design students
Things get weird.
making
Yeah.
making beats in their bedroom. Um, yeah. How's your to-do list?
The thing that I was kind of deep into today was I think oh God, sometime in the last week I got a message email from Freshdesk, the thing that I use for our support ticketing and all that stuff and all of
Yeah.
our documentation. I mean I started using it for Knack, like I want to say it's 2013. They've always had this amazing free plan, which has changed over the years. They've lessened it. But apparently, I missed some email that said you now only get 6 months of free and you have to start paying for it. So
Oh.
that's not the end of the world. However, they haven't updated Freshdesk since, I want to say, 2015. It is very dated. It is not contemporary in any sense. They haven't thought about AI features. Um, Maybe there's something coming, but it's been on my mind of like, I don't really want to pay for this if I ever have to. So I've started the arduous journey of looking at migrating to something else, and I don't even know how many articles we have, but articles and then like they're called canned responses, but it's like things we save to send to people that we commonly have to send to people, and
So
so it's just a pretty
I
involved
know you love
thing.
a good app. You're a sucker for an app.
Yes.
Um,
Yep.
what does it do that email doesn't? Or I understand you
Oh,
can
a
publish
lot.
articles.
Yeah.
Like you got public facing and internally facing articles in there. Like, is that where you go? Where you're
hmm
like, is that where Ricky would go to reference like how to do
Yep.
the thing with the thing? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It's I'd say it's like a, people might call it a wiki.
Okay.
Um, so anything that's, I mean, the big thing to me that makes so much sense about this kind of tool is it's a shared inbox, which you can obviously do with like other email tools.
Mm-hmm,
But then
mm-hmm.
anything that's an article or docs documentation can be used both as a link or as put like inserted content into an email to a customer.
Yeah. Nice.
So like best practices, your guides, you can attach files, you can put videos in there, like um and so I'm not looking through Google Drive to go find a PDF of how to install a Dust Boot thing or
Yeah.
um it's just the place for everything. So
Cool.
yeah,
So
there's a lot of
just
better features now and other things, and Freshdesk is
okay.
just kind of dated.
I was gonna ask like, you gonna stick around and pay for it, or just try and migrate it all?
It'd probably be the easy answer, but like, I mean, just the simple, like, we use like a chat tool called Talk, TAWK, because Freshdesk has a separate product that's like website chat called Fresh Chat, and you have to pay for that separately too. And so I have something, just competing features, and it's like, well, in the future, better versions of this, better different software, it's all integrated, right? Like you go to a website and most people end up using intercom. It's like the expensive one. It's like $70 a user a month or something like that minimum. Um, and that's all an integrated service where it's like you're chatting, then you're emailing, and
Yeah, yeah.
like it's all kind of one thing. So I don't know. This is basically, I just feel like this is all I do anymore is migrate software around. It's a very messy.
Can you get everything you need out of it? Is there an export migration
That's
function?
what I was just looking at. They have a migration tool. Copying the documents is fairly straightforward. It's
Okay.
I look at the HTML from the original one and paste it into the new one. So I could
Uh-huh.
theoretically pay somebody to probably do this. But it's just that big decision. I feel like is like, so how long am I going to stick with the new one, and is it going to be the right choice? And I don't know how you choose those kind of decisions when software and things are constantly changing anyway. Like,
Yep. Don't know.
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
that's my
Get back to the
fun
mill and make some
project,
money.
new one. Yeah, right. It's running right now. It's making pedestal parts.
Good. Nice.
How about you? What's up?
It's Friday morning. I will pack the traditional Friday morning van in about an hour. Although I have to finish a little job. Jem designed himself into a hole, as he likes to do. And so there's a job that needs a little bit of touchy-feely Jem time just before it goes out the door. Um, yeah. But I had some good ideas actually. The one of the issues with kit parts of adding doors and drawers is that we've added effectively like trade, cabinet making hardware into the system,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is nice if
Mm-hmm.
you know how to tune it.
Right.
But it's a bit of a hurdle to expect a regular domestic customer to be able to watch a video and then tune a hastily draw slide and even just
Mm-hmm.
cabinet hinges. Like I think it's
Yep.
a nice
Yep.
skill to have, but it's a lot to expect at times. And I think what happens a lot of the times, people just don't tune their drawers and doors, and they end up like a little bit shit, which doesn't reflect well on the product. Anyway, I designed this thing, custom kit apart, which has got 19-inch rack mount in it for like this guy's servers, home servers. I'm discovering more and more people have server racks at home. I'm slightly jealous, and
I don't quite, but
I just designed this thing which has got 19-inch rack mounts in it. And anyway, it's lots of little details. It was a classic thing where I just quoted. I was like, "Oh, that'll work." I drew it. Yeah, that's fine. And then when it came to actually making it, it's like, "Oh, actually, that doesn't really work, and the hinges aren't going to work, and they're going to clash with the rack mount." And Ben and I workshopped a whole new solution for hinge doors and kit parts, which is actually potentially a way better way of doing it, much simpler. Not using off the shelf cabinet hinges, but just making our own little pivot parts that actually just pivot off the dowel. So yeah, got to fine tune that, mount the racking for the server rack, and get it packed up and out the door. But otherwise, I don't know. Good week. You know, may as well just have the bank balance like in e-ink on the side of my head or something, like a little
maybe on a
badge.
wrist.
E-ink, yeah, a little e-ink badge.
Get an
Um,
e-ink display that just shines through your skin.
yeah, nice.
That'd be sick.
That'd be cool. Yeah. That's about how embedded my mood is, how well linked it is to the bank balance. It may as well be under my skin. So yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
last 2 weeks have been positive. Good cash flow, finishing jobs, winning some decent jobs.
Yeah.
So feeling pretty positive about things.
Yeah.
Um,
Same.
yeah.
shockingly.
Shockingly.
I was
Um,
kind of rehashing that thing with some friends and considering a few fairly sizable, not changes, uh, machine purchase thoughts or selling and purchasing. Like I keep talking about the
mm,
mill, whether it's, leaning towards getting rid of it, getting something different, um, and what space means for us going forward. And so just kind of
mm.
thinking through those, and my friends were like, I was talking to her like, yeah, weren't you just freaking out a couple months ago because things were so slow? And I was like, yeah, we had this fluke March, but literally every other part of the year has been amazing so far, like business wise. So I don't know what to say about that other than it was a weird month. Maybe just it was kind of the lull point of the adjustment to the new dictator. I don't
I
know.
was going to say, it wasn't March kind of like the month where lots of nonsense happened in terms of
Yeah.
tariffs and stuff?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
happening, but I feel like most people are now just kind of like, I don't know. We're gonna look away from this chaos happening on the East Coast.
Mm.
But yeah, it's gone well. Products are selling well. Job shop stuff's going well. It's like, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen next? But
Yeah.
gotta keep moving on.
Yeah, similar here. March was better. What month are we in? Sorry, not March was better. March. I've lost track of what month.
May, April.
May, thank you. It's almost the middle of the year. Things have picked up here too. Um, feels more optimistic. I've noticed like old leads from a year ago reopening quotes in Quotient and like coming
Interesting.
back to expired quotes and like follow up with them, and people are sort of
Mm-hmm.
coming out of the swamp a little bit, which is nice to see. Um,
Right.
and also, I'm just more open to like taking any work we can get at the moment. Like I had an inquiry for another
Huh.
3D surfacing job yesterday.
Oh.
And using my new like higher hourly rate formula that I'd sort of come up with a
Mm.
week ago after doing the Eagle job. I just threw those numbers at it, and he was like, "Yep, budget looks
Aluminium,
good.
you mean?
No worries." Um, Maybe Velcromat might do the dance with the dirty Velcromat, which I kind of
Nice.
secretly love
Oh,
that material. Do you know it?
it's like MDF
It is MDF, but
ish.
it's coloured all the way through.
Oh yeah, you have too.
I've done a few little machining jobs with it in the past. It's quite nice to work
Is
with.
that why you're looking for dust boot accessories?
Uh, no, it wasn't actually.
Keep it
I jumped.
contained.
I was looking at dust boot accessories for that acoustic product we used to cut. Um,
Mm-hmm.
had an inquiry about that, and I was chatting to John about how we can better if we were to machine that sort of product again, how it would contain the dust better. I was telling you about you had a slimmer thing these days, so I went on a little
Do have
Google
a
journey to
slimmer
find
thing.
it.
Yeah, which was it's kind of I don't know how many people have done that for you. It's very painful to watch somebody else try something and fail at your website or whatever you've made. And Jim did a little walkthrough of like, I'm trying to find this thing in your website and I can't find it. And it's like
Like, oh my god, I really need dust boot. Like,
that was the other thing I've been working on the last just this morning basically was just whacking away at migrating Squarespace to Shopify. So I killed
ah, sick.
the quote page and a digital file page, and I just like migrating as much as I can. It's not perfect from each page, and then making a redirect on Squarespace. So you won't even land there anymore on that page. It's just
Oh,
popping over to Shopify. For some reason, the Squarespace sites are just like horrendously slow, like even locally here. Like, just
interesting.
feels like it takes 5 seconds to make every page load.
Well, that's the first time I've Googled your name and been served an ad. Interesting.
Heyo. I did do some advertising for Australia for a while. I don't. Like, apparently, it's still happening.
Apparently. I won't
Good.
click on that. I'll save you the 30
Two
cents.
dollars.
Yeah, probably.
Pretty expensive.
Cool. Good one.
All right. So I've been wondering
Hmm.
since we can't have private conversations anymore. What did thou think on the Henry Holster's tour?
Okay, so Justin sent me the link to the Henry Holz's tour by Audacity
Audacity Micro.
Micro. Good video.
Yeah.
I watched it, fell asleep to it. Um, Not because I was
I
bored,
was
but
kind of laying in
because
bed to that too. Yeah.
it was late. Um, uh, and anyway, Justin was trying to quiz me the other day over text message.
They
Like,
might hear this.
I know. Um, what I thought of it, and I said I'd leave my thoughts for the podcast because we don't talk anymore. We just has to be
Yeah.
recording. Um,
He wouldn't tell me privately.
I got a lot out of it. Found it, I don't know, kind of the intimidating, sort of like how does someone? I
Yeah.
don't know. It's kind of like watching the random routing guy too. I kind
Yeah.
of want the
All right.
behind the scenes of one of these videos of like, okay, so when are you actually doing this stuff? And I know they have dedicated like lean time and they've got the lean station in the shop where anyone can go to do a lean improvement. But it was so like to my Australian eyes and ears, that video was
They're very different.
So American to me
Oh,
in
interesting.
in a sort of not in a
Not
comfortable
Japanese.
way. um, and I just found it a bit like sort of just like enforcer lean, like we're gonna shove lean down your throat, and like I was
Hmm.
looking at the employees in the video, kind of wondering how into this are you? Like I know you're sort of part of this
Hmm.
workplace culture, like yeah, I suppose I would have loved to have had one of the staff talk about it
Yeah.
maybe. So it just felt very sort of top down, sort of heavy handed. And I've having tried to implement lean stuff in the past and basically I'm going to say failed to do so. Um, Failed to get buy-in, failed to just execute, on a regular enough basis to actually make an impact.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just, yeah, awesome, incredible setup, some awesome ideas in there. Or just, yeah, I sort of question the point at which lean becomes almost like inhumane in a workplace.
You sound like an artist a little bit. Like I could
Yeah,
never
it's a bit of an artist
take away my
reaction.
process.
It is a little bit of a sort of artist reaction, I think, of like, yeah, yeah. What did you get out of it?
I don't have a fully. I mean, I would assume that Mr. Henry didn't request this to be done, right? Like AJ was probably saying, "Hey, it'd be cool if I want to come
Yeah,
visit. Maybe I film a tour." It's just my guess on how it went, and um, I think there's definitely a big culture around. I mean, we've done a few of these. I've done a few of these for myself, but also Autodesk did one where the lean culture is to share what you've created, I think. And I don't know. I was talking with another friend about it and them having kind of this like, and I have these feelings too often where I'm like either, oh my God, I can't wait to see this, or the opposite, like I'm feeling bad about myself not being as creative or organized or whatever the thing is that I'm gonna watch they're doing very well, and I like recoil from it, and I'm like, I don't want to be like proselytized to or like made to feel worse indirectly, right? Like not their fault, but just that everything's so great that I'm watching
Mm,
that it makes what I'm doing feel lesser. And that's a very personal like saying that I think maybe it's just me, but I would call this like efficiency porn in a certain sense, and
mm.
I'm kind of all about that. Like I really enjoyed 95% of it and came away from it thinking through for one, I think maybe the most impactful thing for me was SMED, which I think I'd heard the word before, but they kind of jumped through it pretty quick. And at the beginning, I think Andrew was like, "Oh yeah, SMED was pretty impactful for me. That was a great book." And
Mm.
then in the comments of the video, other people asked about it, and it's this concept by a consultant for Toyota in I think the 70s, and I believe his name is uh, Shingo. I'm gonna get it wrong.
Shingo,
SMED.
yeah.
Shingo. There is an interesting Wikipedia little tidbit about this where the guy claims to have invented SMED, the single minute exchange of dies, which, if you
Mm.
know anything about lean or like the Toyota ways, all the big examples around exchanging dies or moving dies for stamping presses, which are a huge part of making like a fender of a car.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
giant metal thing, smashes sheet metal into a shape. And they used to take a year, not a year. They used to take like a full day, and they got it down to like 12 hours. Then it was 3 hours, and then uh, this Shingo person claims to have been challenged and got it down to like 3 minutes or something like that
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
change these giant dies. And so write a book about it. So strangely enough, I can't find an audiobook version of this. It's only in reading form, and so I've been falling asleep reading little bits of it and getting almost nowhere so far. But that was the thing that kind of rocked my mind was and in relationship to a huge part of what I think we can do better here, especially for our products, about changeover between like making ATC forks versus something else on the router, and that taking literally like half a day for us to set up and start running those. Sometimes it's like a full day before they're good parts. And so
Mm.
Ricky and I talked about that afterwards. Like, all right, well, this is silly. It's not exchanging a multi-ton stamping press. It's a little pallet that I made that somehow we can't get to set up well and quickly. So like, how do you do that? And there was so many examples through this tour of ways that they've made setups in because they make a lot of different parts for holsters for guns, and so they're constantly needing to change those things over. And maybe the underlying subtext is like the person designing these things doesn't always is often probably not the person running them making the parts, and the person running them might not have the skill set to design the system. So it's like, as the owner and the designer of products and things, I'm thinking like, all right, I can make a lot of these things happen better and faster, and that's going to be a huge unlock for like not having a day wasted every time we need to run the
Yeah,
certain product.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah.
some really, I really like some of the setup stuff. Just the use of 3D printing for just those simple little fixtures. One of the ones I found most attractive actually was the sewing stuff because I've done a fair bit of sewing,
Yeah.
and
Right.
it's can be such a frustrating process. And seeing just like the little
Yeah.
3D printed foot that clipped onto the guard of the sewer to help guide in the beading, and like yeah, there's some really
Mm-hmm.
really smart, inspiring stuff in there. And I understand, you watch bigger shop tours with who are like fully lean implemented, and they've got like a lean officer and like someone whose job it is to go around and
Oh.
either sort
Yeah.
of make these improvements or at least sort of empower others to make these improvements. And I can totally see how that sort of would work because not everyone's wired to do that. Like to think in that way, to actually execute on those ideas, you need a certain skill set or a team of people who can help you execute on that skill set. And yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
definitely have a sense of like failure as well. Of like, watch a shop tool like that. Think about what I've tried to implement in the past. Think about the state of our current shop now, and just be like, nah, that makes me feel crap.
It is the most common reaction because I shared this with a bunch of friends because I was inspired by it and liked a lot of it. And a lot of them were like, I don't know, when do you have time for this?
Mm.
Like how do you do this? And I definitely have that feeling too of like, there's so many things. Like Ricky was out yesterday and I was running the mill. Hi, girl,
Hunter.
come here.
Oof.
Hunter's here. Um,
Running the mill.
half the time for me, I just have to get away from my damn desk. And
Mm.
since watching that now, I've been very inspired to like, oh, there's all these things in the mill room that I want to fix and that are messy. And then there was a decent amount around their shipping area that I was like taking some inspiration from too.
Mm.
Of that is one thing that has just innumerable variation for us in terms of like we could be shipping an end mill or we could ship like a motor or we can ship a set of cabinets,
Mm.
like
Mm.
there's a giant variation and standardizing it's pretty difficult. So there's still a lot to be figured out, but also there's just like when I have the packing slip, where the hell does it go? Oh, I put it on top of the keyboard, then I can't hit the keyboard. And it's like following through those little things of like, well, I'm going to get a little receipt thing. So my
Mm.
paper sticks up here and just hit, AJ asked and Andrew during it, like, well, this is pretty overwhelming, I'm sure, for some people. Where do you suggest people start? And I think the most common one is the 2 second lean concept, where it's like,
Yeah.
just do something that you find frustrating and fix it. Beginning of
Yeah.
the day, when you're in the middle of it. And that doesn't solve everything, but it's a good start. And then otherwise, it's like you and I, the owners, the people that aren't making the products usually, they're the ones that have to usually make the bigger changes and like the effort towards we're going to move the mill and turn it so that there's less wasted motion and
Mm. Mm.
stuff like that usually.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I need to be more excited about this stuff. If we're gonna move shop like into a space that's a quarter of the size, this is the kind of shit I should be watching and getting excited about every night because I need to basically make our space way more efficient and
Yeah.
our operations tighter, leaner, more multi-purpose, blah 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 blah. Yeah, like, but
Maybe
I
it's a
don't know.
branding thing. I do think every time I bring up lean with other people, I always feel like I have to caveat it like, okay, don't think about it as this big corporate thing. Think about it as like, I just want to do my job better and be more comfortable
Nice.
doing it.
Sweet.
Like, I think if I take it away from the like, this branded thing. Also, if you coin it as it's Japanese, not American, not Western, not it's usually responded better to. Like think about all the great Japanese things there are in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Other highlights I thought were really cool. The Nord this has been talked about a lot. The no door like pallet changing brother machines.
Yep.
Where they had like the
Smart.
spray hose dangling above the parts so you could just squeeze it where it was. And then they had like, because they don't use coolant, there's no exchange of that problem. So then when the pallet changer flips around, it just has a light curtain so you can put your hands in and not have to open a door 100 times a day, which I've heard that one before that they've talked about. I like the lean station a lot, where it's just like a bunch of stuff instead of like my label printer here and like label printer out there and all these different places instead of it just being like accessible for anybody to go use and markers and tape and little stuff like that. So, well,
Yeah.
my dog is losing her mind right
Oh,
now.
kitty.
Must have to go outside. Do you have to go potty? Can you wait, please? In the middle of something, you.
Yo.
I think ultimately too, my last thought is I just love watching shop tours. Like it could be a shitty, messy place or like a really organized place, and I just kind of have this like voyeurism of like, oh, this is fun. Oh, let me show me that corner
Same.
over there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Take me over there, please. Take me to the
Yeah.
messy corner. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, me too. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I pushed out my little visit to Twig and Bot. Hopefully next week
Mm,
we'll get there.
yeah.
I'd love to get there with John. Go there together, check
Right.
things out. But your SMED, whatever that single minute exchange of dyes book reminded me.
Yes.
I had a bit of a win during the week discovering. Well, no, I knew about it. I used Notebook LM for the first time, which is that Google thing where you can dump in
Yep. Yep.
as many notes and sources as you want, and it generates a podcast from it, which sounds kind of naff. It's bloody fantastic for certain things. As you know, I've been like trying to learn rapid code to program these
Oh,
ABBs.
interesting.
Those 1,700 page rapid documentation PDFs from ABB. I dumped in about 2,000 pages of rapid documentation and hit generate, and then just added a little note in the prompt saying, sculpt the output of this for me and John, who are, experienced CNC operators, well versed in G code, but new to ABB Rapid.
Yep.
And it produced a, I don't know, 15-minute podcast, which was good and useful.
Yep.
And it was just a different way to absorb the information. I could just listen to it while I was doing jobs in Rhino. And it was nice to not have to read and just be, let the information wash over. And it's like, it was quite a convincing conversation between two co-hosts talking back and forth about rapid code and exploring different ideas. But new feature in there is you can join the conversation, so you can interrupt them and inject questions, and then
Yep.
they will tangent off and answer your question, talk about that, and then come back to the kind of the main show and continue talking. So it's kind of every time you open it up and hit play, it's kind of the same podcast every time. But if you go into this interactive mode, you can interrupt them immediately and redivert their attention to a different. And I just found it super useful. So I started using it for a few things this week, other than the rapid stuff.
Wild.
I put in like all the documentation from the two companies that are quoting our solar system for the new shed, and then generated a podcast, talking about the difference of these two quotes and the pros and cons of each approach. There's another one I made. It's just a different way to absorb information. I'm excited about it. It's great.
It's interesting. I also looked into it this week because I was like, there's so many damn AI tools out there. I want to learn about SMED, which
nice.
sounds like a venereal disease. And there's just
got a case of the SMED.
I've got this. I would love to get SMED. There's just no audiobook, which is just kind of mind-blowing to me. And it's also not a cheap book to buy. I think it's $40 or something like that for a digital copy. I was like, whatever, that's fine. But I would prefer to listen to it because like half the time I'm like driving home and I'm like, God, I would really like to be listening or reading that book right now, but I'm not going to read while I'm driving. So I was like, there's got to be a tool. Can Notebook LLM do this for me? And it's specifically said like, no, it doesn't convert speech to, or text to speech. And I was like, all right. And I'm sure there's like licensing problems with having any tool do this, but as of right now, don't have a way to do it. So
Okay.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have just some good on-phone text-to-speech converter because I often do the same thing of like, can you? I'd see like I'd have to trick Siri into reading stuff to me. Um, like I'll just copy and paste a slab of text into the Notes app and then say,
Oh,
Siri, read my most recent note. And she'll go, oh, okay, you mean this one? Cool. And then read it out in full.
hmm.
But not particularly convenient.
Yeah.
Um, mm,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It's just, yeah, different way of, I've been doing so much reading about this stuff. It was just really nice to have it switch to a different format of listening.
Right.
Different way to absorb things. So,
It's interesting. So what's can you use it to have you got to trust the AI in this case. Like what if you don't have good source material and you want to like a story or a podcast about topics like I want to learn about CNC lathes and like
yeah,
the brands and which ones they're known for and like can it generate that by its own history or do I have to give it like 10 companies PDFs?
I think it's designed to take your what the notes you've amassed, yeah, like to use it as a
Hmm.
research tool, basically. Um, I haven't tried it on sort of content that's not in there, like how good its general knowledge is. Obviously, it's
Oh,
some
YouTube
sort of
videos.
LLM in the background, so it must have some general knowledge. But I think the idea is that you give it all the content and then it references that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
How's your chatter sync? What did you get any progress on that?
I got it working. I tried it on both machines just out of curiosity. So the pencil sharpener worked well. Um, so the Masso control, it's loaded the USB drive of the chatter. I ran files directly off it, which is how that Masso control works. It doesn't have its own inbuilt
Wow,
storage.
cool.
It's only the USB storage. Um, and that worked. And then I switched it to the multicam Trinity, the newer multicam, and that worked as well. It was a little bit more finicky getting it to mount on the multicam, but it did mount.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I was like, cool, that works, but I don't actually have an immediate use case. So I unplugged it, put it on John's desk, and walked away. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's kind of like it sort of comes back to the lean thing. Like I'm not really on the floor. I'm not experiencing the problem, except when John was away. I'm not experiencing the day to day problems and workflow that John does.
Yeah.
And, it could be a useful little tool to just have on hand and plug in when we have some sort of networking problem, although that would knock out the
Hmm.
chatter as well. But if there was something that was not working and we needed to run USB rather than Ethernet on one of the machines, and I don't know, it's a tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
It's more than anything, it's just got me over my aversion to Raspberry, my fear of Raspberry Pis
Yeah.
and flashing
Right.
small
Kind of did the same for
microprocessors.
me.
Um, yeah,
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
yeah. So yeah, feels good.
It's cool that it just works with Masso like that. Like that's a I feel like that I'm sure other people have tried it, but
Hmm.
it's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, John came back this week.
Hmm.
Did the right sacrifices for the machines. The pencil sharpener seems to
Thank
have been
God.
happy. We got Cameron back online finally together. So the old secondhand 4 gig flash card came in the mail. We flashed it, and
How much does that
Cameron
cost?
Cameron booted up. $35.
Huh. That's not bad. That's like yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
Cameron's
Hmm.
back online, which is good. Just in time actually, because we needed to machine some aluminium, and Cameron's got the Mister. So, hmm, Feels good. And I bought a laser engraver, a little one, baby. Finally.
Oh, what are we looking at? What's like a little handheld situation?
Yeah, a little handheld.
I don't even know how
Um,
that's interesting. Tattoos.
staff tattoos. That's right. You
Come on
want to
over
work
here.
for like butter, line up. So yeah, because of that new
We're now a
legislation,
lean cult.
SMED, the cult of SMED. Because we're um because of that new uh those new laws about
Tippy cabinet
shelf
problem.
safety, anti-tip, blah blah blah. Yeah, as soon as that arrives, we'll start laser engraving that warning on the bottom of a kit parts shelf. Um,
Did you just bake me? Oh my god, this is amazing. Jim just made me as a Lego creature with a SMED shirt on. What was that from? GPT?
yeah, yeah.
Jesus. So good.
I didn't even
I don't
match
even
your
know what you're
t-shirt
saying.
color.
I got really distracted.
I was distracted too because I was waiting for you to see the image come through in Slack. Um, what was I talking about? Yeah, laser coming
So you haven't
Monday
been listening
probably.
for the last half an hour, have you? Just working on this image.
um,
Laser. What's it called?
lasers are coming. I got the Laser Pecker 2
Oh, I was
because I
gonna
was at a
make a joke about that.
Laser Pecker. Yeah, I was at a friend's shop and I noticed they had one. Asked them what it was like. They like it. I was like, cool, that's enough of a recommendation for me. Thank you. I was going to get the X Tool S10 or whatever it's called, S1, which is one a more an enclosed design, but the dimensions of it were just tiny bit too tight for like a standard kit apart shelf. So
Oh, shelf.
I
Oh, right.
would have
I was trying to
preferred an
remember what you're using it
enclosed
for.
one, I think, but yeah, this one will be fine for what we need. We could finally add some product branding to some of our products again. That'd be novel, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sorry,
Hmm.
I'll have to watch that later.
Oh, he's what? He's sending me
Um.
movies.
Hmm.
Cool.
Cool.
Check it out. Yeah, we'll see. I'll show.
Yeah. We we have officially have a distributor
Oh,
for
well.
products. Korean one. Um.
What? For
They were
your
just
products?
buying a decent amount of yeah, a decent amount of tool
Sick.
products, and then after the first order, they were like, "Hey, this is great. Can I be a distributor?" And I was like, "Yeah, yes." Haven't had the nobody's really. I think we've had a couple wholesale orders, but they're not turned into like whatever that means. And in no way am I going to turn into a distributor model. Like I still fully believe in direct sales, but I would say that things like outside the country or um, even just like local sales, it is nice sometimes to have the option to buy something locally and have it, bulk sent somewhere, and then you can pick it up quicker locally. So, um, made a little form, an Airtable form for future signups, and then I've yet to build out. I mean, since it's just the one, but make a little page where it's like, here's where you can buy products, and then do you want to be a distributor? So,
Cool.
um, yeah, interesting. Something I've
What
been
is?
wanting with those tool tags specifically because they seem like such a good product to be distributed.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Is that so? What are the products that you? Is it just that
They
initially?
they bought uh specifically 1 to 25 HSK or Cat 40 tool tag towers, and then
Yeah.
like it's weird, but the Cat 40 HSK 63 are the same tool tag. the orange ones we
Yeah,
sell.
yeah.
So that they bought a lot of those to sell there.
Okay.
But
So,
that's been my plan for a long time. Is if I can get it ramped up enough, I would like to start. I've said this before, but injection molding them, and then like selling them through distributors or wholesale as
mm,
well.
where are you at with your injection molding thoughts?
Trying to ramp up base. I want to get to a place where like the monthly sales make
Mm,
such an obvious sense that we need to expand beyond printing because
yeah.
it's still even with the cheap desktop one that I want to get. Um, I think I've said that here, right? Like there's this brand called APSX, and they make one called the PIM, and I think it's 13 grand, 14 grand,
Mm,
and it's an automated injection molder, and we can pretty easily make the mold tools ourselves. They're like 4x6, so I can fit a couple on each one. The things, I mean, there's a lot I don't understand about it, but like I think the coloration of the plastic is something I don't fully get and like how to buy it. But I've watched enough videos that I feel pretty confident I could easily make the mold tools because they're not complicated. Um, that's pretty good. I like my new profile photo.
as
So anyway,
in
that's what I'd like
yeah,
to do.
yeah. You could make your own tooling on the mill, right?
Oh yeah,
Get it. Yeah,
it's yeah. I've
yeah.
talked
Get
to
in.
Eric Larson about it too, since he's
Mm, cool.
deep into that. And
Yeah.
what doesn't make sense, I mean, in talking with him, even with a good deal he was offering, the cost up front when you don't have the scale for something for a mold like that is just kind of it's just super like it would make the parts be so expensive if you
Mm,
amortized it that like it would just like there would be no point, right? Like
mm,
so
mm.
if I can't bring it in house and do that myself, I don't see currently a scale where I'm gonna get to that in the next probably 3 years, unless there's
Yeah.
some gangbuster situation I don't understand. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, it's been, I mean, I was trained as an industrial designer to design injection
right.
molded parts. So, it's one of the few things we
Mm-hmm.
learn about in terms of manufacturing processes at uni. So it's funny to have sort of this
Interesting.
like weird low level baked in knowledge about that process, which I'll probably never use. Never use. Um, but yeah,
Hey,
I
yeah,
find it fascinating. Like that, circling back to lean and fast cap, Paul Akers with his 2 minute lean. Like I always found that fascinating watching the fast cap videos and seeing all their like injection molders pumping away, like in
right.
house production of little
Yeah,
widgets and parts. And
right,
it's like, dang, that's pretty impressive.
right.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Plus, my
It,
grandfather had a vacuum molding business, so I've kind of
mm,
got plastic manufacturing in my in my
in your blood.
blood.
Gross.
Yeah, gross. More microplastics, please.
Mm-hmm.
Get them in
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm celebrating my Shopify invoices looking normal again after VividWorks subscription finally is in the past.
Oh, cheers.
Cha-ching! Saw the
Big
most recent
change.
one come in. I was like, $44. Oh, thank
Instead of
fuck.
add a few
That
zeros.
looks healthier. Yep. And just yeah,
Cool.
overall big win. More people using my new builder. More people commenting on how much they like using it, despite all its little bugs and quirks. I have been working this week on some bug fixes, including bringing add to cart functionality to the table.
Still
Just,
crossed out on my version.
still, yeah, I haven't gone live with that. It's on another URL at the moment, just in testing. But yeah, it's a win. It's a vibe coding win. Um, I was chatting. I was at the school autumn fair for my kids' school on the weekend. I ran into the one person I know in this town who I know is a developer, and
Oh,
a real one. As in, he's a React developer, and last time we were at a Christmas
not a
party or
vibe
something
coder.
together. No, not a vibe coder at all. Last time we were chatting about vibe coding and stuff, and then I caught up with him on the weekend briefly at this thing. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've been using Cursor all week." Like, yes, come on. And he said he had a great
One
time.
of us.
You know,
One of us.
with his years of experience, he's very good at directing it to do exactly what he wants and can get good
Right.
results out of it. So yeah, it makes sense. Cool. Smash on. Let's have
I'm
a
just
vibe
playing with
coding
your
party one
configurator
day.
right now. Yeah. Text gem for design device. Ho. Popped up in my text messages.
I could auto fill something inappropriate into that just for you.
Yes. Yeah, you could. It's specifically like the F then if I click it.
Yeah, only if your
Yeah.
IP address clicks on it. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. I don't know, man. What else?
What
Um,
else?
what's the best part of owning a business?
Yeah, I've had that thought for a while, but um finally into some kind of stability with our childcare during the days that we
Okay.
work weekdays. And I had this realization, and I think you've probably had something similar, and maybe most parents, but still somewhat new to me. But even if I don't make a lot of money, I think it is incredibly valuable to be able to like be available when things change.
Yep.
Kids, either they're sick or my wife has something change and I can just leave work
Yep.
kind of whenever I want. And I compare that to thinking about how most employers do not provide the type of flexibility that I currently have. And I would probably be fired by now based on how much time I've taken away or needed to be at home trying to work with my child crawling on me. And it's definitely like, it's not a secret, but it's just you don't realize it until I feel like I'm always apologizing to Ricky, like, yeah, I gotta leave now. Like, I
Mm.
know I didn't get anything done you needed me to today. And flip it around, and I think I would like to be as flexible to him or other people and try to be, but
Mm.
it's also hard to imagine the constant changes that I take it for advantage of.
Yeah, I've tried to get over that sense of guilt a little bit in the last year
Yeah,
because I used
it's
to have
good.
that of
Right.
like, yeah, feeling bad about leaving, disappearing to pick up the kids and stuff. But I just, I've been better at sort of reconciling that that's okay and it's my business and it needs to work for me. And
Yeah.
if I have a moment of feeling like I have to justify it, it's like, yeah, I spend a lot of time working every evening
True.
and weekends, and
True. Yeah.
you know, I am on the clock a lot. And so if I get to work again late because I've got to take my kid to school, then that's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
make it work for you. So yeah, and that's partly an improvement on my part. It's also just partly having a better aligned staff culture of like
Yeah.
being on the same page. And I've got there's four of us, three of us have young children, and that flexibility is shared. Like,
Right.
and shared and understood. Like, if Ben needs to do kid drop off or go to, you ran out the door yesterday early to get to go to a parent teacher meeting, and like, and I know he'll be back to make up the hours later, and like, there's a high level of trust, and it's nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think the same. It's like haven't had employees with kids, but it definitely is eye opening, and trying to like write a handbook or a policy book of how you should comport yourself or act. And I definitely feel like, I think I will hopefully have even more leniency than I thought I would about these type of things. Like I've never been like the worst case has happened in the past where it's like people fall asleep at work or aren't performing well. And that I find way more offensive um, than you need to go do something with your family and their responsible employee otherwise, literally beside me in the same
Wow.
office. Like, I think we need to be working on our sleep hygiene or something. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you ever played? This is not on the list. Have you ever played like SimCity, or like the newer
Yeah.
version is called City Skylines?
No, I haven't played any new games, but yeah, go
I
on.
mean, this is like 10 years old. So, a friend was messaging me about how they got into cities skylines, I think, or City Skylines, and it's a lesser version, honestly, than the original SimCity games, but I owned it and I had not installed it on my computer for a very long time, and they were mentioning it, and I was like, yeah, that does sound fun. So like last Friday night I installed it, and it works on Macs, which is also great. And oh my god, I think I played till 3:30 in the morning.
Yes,
Just locked in,
you did it.
improving freeways and bus express lanes and
That's hilarious.
standardizing a city. Oh my god. If they made shop organization version of this, would I ever stop?
Well, you should go and play Factorio then, because that's
I think I have. I
close
play
close to shop.
Satisfactory
Factorio
with my
is
brother.
the last game I got sort of into and briefly addicted to, and it's wonderful. Very, very enjoyable. I think
Have you?
you're sort of
So
colonizing a planet and
yeah,
building like
right.
industrial networks and systems and
Wastelands. Yeah, I
wastelands. Yeah.
play Satisfactory with my brother, and
Okay.
he is a software-ish designer,
Mm.
and it's really wild to be like we're working on it's a 3D kind of like first player version of this on like you're like a dude in a spacesuit, and you're building it's the same concept. You're building like you're pillaging the land for its resources
Yeah.
and creating this like production facility. So you have to mine and get power and run conveyor belts and stuff. And it is really, really wild to watch him start to use language like we use in like production for CNC machines. And I'm like, dude, this is like I'm working my day job playing this game.
Awesome.
It's like it's just really not efficient. We need to really work on these conveyor belt lines that they're
Let's get
taking
his
too
cycle
long to
time
get
down.
between. Yeah, basically, yeah, right. And I'm like, it's so weird to hear you talk about this.
Awesome. Cool, man.
Gaming.
Gaming. We'll have headsets in no time.
Oh, I have headsets. Yeah, I actually use my podcast mic when I play.
Of course you do. Of course.
Well, I get a new one. Well, I've got 10 minutes before I have to go pick up my small one, so
Okay. I'm gonna
I'm not pack a
go
van.
mount some racks and pack a van. I'll see you soon.
Yep. Goodbye.
Goodbye, bye. Thanks. Ta-ding.